The day I rolled that battered old bulldozer into my driveway, I knew exactly what I was doing, even if nobody else did. You should have seen the look on my neighbor's face, the one with the hydrangeas. And the Range Rover, when that machine let out a groan like it had swallowed a thunderstorm. I could practically feel every manicured hedge and spotless SUV in Maple Hollow turning to stare, their judgment heavy as summer heat. The HOA? Oh, I knew they'd come knocking, probably before I'd even finished my coffee. But what they didn't know, what none of them understood, was that rusty old dozer might just end up saving their lives, even if it looked like a crime scene on treads. It wasn't pretty, that machine. Paint scratched, seat cracked, and every time I turned the key, it groaned like it was waking up from a 100-year nap. But I didn't buy it for looks. I bought it because, after 20 years fighting fire for Cal Fire, I could smell a bad summer coming before the TV weatherman did. I'd seen how the wind moved, how the pine needles crackled, how a single spark could crawl through dry grass like it had a grudge. I knew this wasn't the year to play pretend. Maple Hollow's a nice place if you go by home values and lawn heights. People wave, but only when it doesn't cost them anything. Lawns trimmed with military precision, houses dipped in beige so nobody stands out. It's all kept in line by the HOA, the Maple Hollow Homeowners Association, who care more about appearances than actual safety. Some folks call them protective. Others use words my mama would slap me for saying. I learned fast that to them, order means control, and control means nothing unexpected, certainly not a bulldozer in a driveway. I bought the house 3 years back, right after retiring early from Cal Fire. Honestly, I'd seen enough. Too many homes lost, too many families huddled on sidewalks staring at what was left, too many people who thought it'd never happen to them. So, when I found this place, right up against a wooded ravine, all I saw was risk, no fire breaks, no access, nothing but dry brush 40 yards from 10 perfect backyards. My first thought wasn't, what a view. It was, how fast would this go up? So, yeah, when I found that bulldozer for sale from an old rancher up north, I bought it cash, hauled it down, parked it right next to my garage, chained and covered. Didn't take 12 hours for the HOA to show up. 9:30 the next morning, I'm on my porch with a cup of coffee, old record spinning low, and up rolls the white Golf cart with the HOA logo. Margaret Langston, platinum hair, sunglasses sharp enough to cut glass, clipboard in hand, steps out like she owns the place, with some kid tagging along, phone up like he's catching me in the act. Mr. Granger, construction equipment isn't permitted, she says, no good morning, no smile. The kid pipes up, we got complaints. It's an eyesore. I sip my coffee. Well, it hasn't moved. That doesn't matter, Margaret snaps. Rule 7.4, no heavy equipment. I tell her it's not industrial, it's personal. It's a bulldozer, she says, voice clipped, and it's here. Because you live on the fire line. She scoffs, says they have an emergency plan, that everything's under control. I ask if they've ever tested it, if their laminated evacuation maps will do anything. When fire's crawling over the ridge. Are you threatening us? The kid asks, eyes wide. No. I say, I'm warning you. They tape a violation to my door that night, $2.50 a day till it's gone. Next morning, the online board's blowing up. Who let the junkyard in? Planning a demolition derby? Some folks laugh, some pile on. At the store, a woman I barely know mutters, some people just don't respect the rules. Guess that's me now, the guy with the bulldozer, the rebel, the eyesore. But nobody asking why, nobody thinking about what that machine could actually do. But I remembered. 2018, when Paradise burned. How fast it moved. How little warnings mattered. How if they'd just cleared another 20 feet. Well, let's just say I'd rather be fined than watch that happen here. The HOA didn't stop at letters. Margaret wasn't letting go. Second notice comes, heavier paper, sharper language, with photos and a promise they'd make an example of me at the next community meeting. Clubhouse night. Faux wood floors, lemon water, rows of chairs. HOA board perched at the front like judges. I wasn't gonna go, but my neighbors, Claire and Henry, showed up the night before. Henry taps the bulldozer, tells me they're calling me a public nuisance. Not the dead pine grove behind lot 42. I ask. They care about appearances, he says. And he's right. Bulldozers aren't pretty. They're loud, dirty, useful. The 3 things the HOA hates most. So I go, wearing my old Cal Fire jacket, and the room quiets when I walk in. Margaret thanks me for attending. I'll stand. I tell her. She starts reciting rules. It's not construction equipment. I cut in. It's for fire mitigation. The crowd shifts. Margaret's lips purse. Linda, another board member, chimes in. You're not authorized for emergency services. I ask if anyone thinks a fire truck's going to make it up here fast enough when the roads are clogged with smoke and panic. Not a lot of eye contact then. Margaret says this isn't the place for dramatics. You broke a rule. No, I prepared. I say, cleared defensible space, mapped exits, stocked supplies, kept the dozer oiled and ready. None of which was approved, she says. Because your plan's short-sighted, I say. Some gasp, a nervous laugh in the back. I fought wildfires for 19 years. I know what happens when people care. More about uniformity than readiness. This isn't Cal Fire, Margaret says. It's Maple Hollow, and we have procedures. And your procedures will get people killed. That shuts the place up. The board decides. Remove the dozer by Friday or $500 a day, legal action, the works. I tell them, then you'll be seeing it a while. The next day, the fines start, the letters pile up. They post my picture on the neighborhood forum, say I'm endangering cohesion. Meanwhile, the wind picks up. The ground dries out. But their fights with me, not the brush, not the fire. By the 3rd letter, hand-delivered, red ink, over $2,500 in fines. They threaten a lien on my house. But inside's a newsletter, the Hollow Digest. Instead of dog birthdays, this month it's a front-page photo of my bulldozer, zoomed in, made to look menacing. Article accuses me of putting everyone at risk, setting a bad precedent. The neighbors start treating me different. Kids call me Mad Max. Someone keys the dozer. Cosmetics don't matter to a machine like that. What matters is they're scared, because deep down they know what's coming. That afternoon, Henry brings groceries. Says, this place is a powder keg. That night, I see the real reason on the forum, a post by Richard, the real estate guy. The dozer's hurting property values. There it is, not safety, not fire. Just home prices and curb appeal. Next HOA meetings online, a Zoom. Margaret's at her marble kitchen island. Richard with his bookshelf, Linda stiff under a sailboat photo. Somebody asks about the fire season, about my bulldozer. Margaret's IC. What Mr. Granger's done is disruptive, unnecessary, and unsafe. Says the county doesn't endorse me. I unmute. Tell them. County doesn't restrict. Private mitigation on private land. You just don't like the way it looks. Margaret boots me off the call. That's when I realize they don't just want me fined. They want me erased. 3 days later, the smoke starts rolling in. The air goes sharp and weird. Wind changes, birds gone, deer moving. I'm standing at the edge of my backyard, fists tight, memory pounding. 2016, Butte County. A fire that started with an illegal campfire. Wind shifted. My brother Nate on the line with me, flames jumping the break. Nate didn't make it. I promised myself, at his grave, never again. That's why I bought the dozer. That's why I stayed. That night, radio crackles. Brush fire south of Plumas Ridge, wind north-northeast. By noon, it's 800 acres. By 3 o'clock, it jumps the highway. I walk my fire line, 60 feet of brush gone, earth turned, sprinklers set. My house is ready. It's everyone else I worry about. Next morning, smoke's visible. Sky's the wrong color. Scout, my shepherd, paces the porch, nervous as a thunderhead. I walk the ridge, see that thin column, gray, not black yet, but it's the middle, not the start. Tracker says, Hollow Bend fire, 3,200 acres. 0% containment, headed north. Right toward us. I fire up the dozer. The engine's a beast, shaking dust from the tarp. Neighbors peek out, jaws open. Margaret comes running, no golf cart. Just sneakers and panic. You can't do this, she yells. You'll cause confusion. I point at the smoke. You think confusion is your biggest problem? She's losing her grip now. The fire crews will. Divert it, she insists. It won't reach us. I hold up my phone. Voluntary evacuation just issued. Still want to find me for being ready? Suddenly, the wind slams us, Scout barking. Margaret's hair everywhere. We both look. The smoke is orange now. I tell her, move your car. I roll the dozer to the ravine, blade down, carving a break. Wide, deep, ugly. Neighbors come out. Claire and Henry on their lawn, some filming, some frozen. Sirens wail, fire trucks racing past the entrance, not stopping. We're not their priority. I cut the line till dusk, sweat pouring. Arms burning. By nightfall, the HOA sends out voluntary evacuation emails, but most folks aren't listening. They've got Wi-Fi in denial. At 6:42, the sky turns copper. Ash falls. I'm in the fire break when Claire finds me. They're not leaving, she says. Margaret told them the fire would be diverted. It's too late. I tell her, the crews won't make it. We grab Henry, bags, flashlights. And I clear a path with the dozer, straight through the fancy iron gate, metal screaming. Follow the brake. I shout, and the neighborhood finally starts moving. Margaret's in the cul-de-sac, shouting I'm causing chaos. Fire's less than a mile. I yell, you have no authority. Then sue me. As the smoke rolls down like a curtain, I widen the brake for cars, Claire waving people through. Henry loading kids, neighbors finally running. The fire crests the ridge, a wall of flame. I drive the dozer at the water main, hit steel, water geysers into the air, and I channel it with the blade. Steam hissing, slowing the fire just enough for everyone to escape. The fire fights back, but it hesitates at the brakes. The county trucks show up at last, see the lines, jump in. Captain Roa, who I hadn't seen since 2014, yells, you save half a damn neighborhood? Guess so, I cough. You working with local command? Nope, just me. Hell of a job. For 2 hours, we fight. The brakes hold. Not a single life lost. Next morning, the news crews are everywhere. Local hero defies HOA, saves community. But what matters isn't the headlines, it's the neighbors. Henry and Claire bring bandages and coffee. The couple from Lot 42 hugs me, apologizing. Even the teenagers show up to help. For the first time, there's respect in their eyes. 4 days later, Margaret comes to my door, no clipboard, just a folder. We're rescinding all fines, she says, and drafting a formal apology. Tears in her eyes, but she blinks them away. I never thought you were dangerous, just disruptive. Sometimes disruption saves people. I say, if the fire had reached your house, would you have called the county? She smiles, just a little. No, I'd have run to you. Afterward, the county asked me to speak at a wildfire forum. They put my dozer in the paper. Maple Hollow changes. New board. Henry, Claire, folks who helped. They asked me to join. I say no, all right. The emergency plan helped train HOAs. Now, the bulldozer's parked right by the break, with a sign. In case of fire, do not wait. Do not argue. Act. Maple Hollow's different now. Kids ask about fire breaks. We lead walks, map exits, hand out radios. People wave, bring coffee, talk about real preparedness. The man who once got called Mad Max. Now I'm just the man who stayed. And every year on the anniversary, we gather at the clubhouse, tell stories, eat, and remember. No plaque, no speeches, just gratitude. I never wanted to be a hero. I just didn't want to watch another place burn while we waited for permission. That's what I told them. And now, every time I see green shoots coming back on the Black Hills, or Scout lying in the sun, I think of my brother, and the promise I made. You can call it stubborn, or reckless, or whatever you like, but when fire comes to your door, you better be ready, not with permission, but with purpose. That's the difference between loss and survival. What would you have done? Would you follow the rules, or would you hold the line? Tell me, because I think we all need to talk about what real courage looks like, and who we're willing to be when the alarms finally sound.